الصبح بدا من طلعته والليل دجى من وفرته فاق الرسل فضلا وعلا أهدى السبل لدلالته الصبح بدا من طلعته والليل دجى من وفرته فاق الرسل فضلا وعلا أهدى السبل لدلالته كنز الكرم مولى النعم هدي الأمم لشريعته أزكى النسب أعلى الحسب كل العرب في خدمته كل العرب في خدمته الصبح بدا من طلعته والليل دجى من وفرته فاق الرسل فضلا وعلا أهدى السبل لدلالته سعتي الشجر نطق الحجر شق القمر بإشارته جبريل أتى ليلة أسرى والرب دعا لحضرته والرب دعا لحضرته الصبح بدا من طلعته والليل دجى من وفرته فاق الرسل فضلا وعلا أهدى السبل لدلالته نال شرفا والله عفا عما سلف من أمته فمحمدنا هو سيدنا فالعز لنا لإجابته فالعز لنا لإجابته الصبح بدا من طلعته والليل دجى من وفرته فاق الرسل فضلا وعلا أهدى السبل لدلالته الصبح بدا من طلعته والليل دجى من وفرته فاق الرسل فضلا وعلا أهدى السبل لدلالته أهدى السبل لدلالته
أنت العليم الحكيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Alhamdulillah, we find ourselves back to continue our journey with the seerah, the prophetic history, and we ended at a point where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's grandfather passed away and he was placed in the care of his uncle Abu Talib. When Abdul Muttalib passed away, most of his wealth had been distributed amongst his people. So what he left as inheritance was not much. And as such, Abu Talib was not in a very good financial state when Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was placed in his care, and the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam at this point was 8 years old. And we covered this in that Abu Talib's wife Fatima bint Asad took the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as her own son, and he later speaks about her and how she would favor him and see to his needs even before her own children's needs. And I did mention before in passing that she accepted Islam, and she's considered the second woman to have accepted Islam after Sayyidah Khadija radiallahu anha. Abu Talib was not doing so well. Muhammad, the young Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, helped by tending to flocks of sheep or goats for stipend, and when Abu Talib was later able to do some trade, he took the Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam with him on a journey to Sham. Sham is Greater Syria, covering or including Lebanon and Jordan and even Palestine. So what occurred on this first journey to Sham? This is what this slide is what we ended with last week. Clouds. There was a monk in a small monastery, temple on the bank of a lake, and as I wrote on the board last week, an ocean is Bahr, and a lake is simply referred to as a small ocean, Buhaira. So some say the monk's name was Buhaira, others say no, he was the monk of the Buhaira, the monk of the lake. We mentioned that. So the narrations have it that he was observing this caravan, and he noted that whenever the caravan moved, there was a cluster or a group of clouds that was moving above them, and when the caravan stopped, the cloud would stop. So this attracted his attention, and then when they got closer and they sat or they sought some shade under a tree, they noted, or he noted, from his vantage point from where he could see, he noted that the branches of the tree as if lowered to add to the shade or add to the comfort that they sought under it. Now there's a documentary on the net, on YouTube, where certain scholars try to track down the space, or try to confirm the route that was traveled those years, and they found a tree along this route, and they found some ruins near to this tree on the bank of what looked like a dried up lake. So you can research it, I'll find the name, but they refer to it as the last companion. Why? Because it witnessed the Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it was there, and it is still alive. This huge Londt tree, L-O-T-E now. But what we're coming to later, inshallah, Allah bless our time. But this was the first journey to Sham, because even though the monk advised Abu Talib with something, later in his life, Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam happened to go to Sham once again, and it's thought to have been the same route. Anyway, so the monk was in his space, and he sent out an invitation for the travelers to come and have a meal by him. So when they came to him in the evening, he engaged them, but he noted that what he expected, or what he was looking out for signs, he did not observe in them. So he then asked if there's anyone that's part of the group that's not there with him, and he said, no, just one young lad that's looking after our rides, the camels or horses that they had. So he said, no, we need to invite him as well. So when the young Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam entered, immediately this monk was taken aback, and he engaged him, meaning he spoke with him, asked him about his life. He asked him two things that we know of. He asked him if he had any specific dreams, types of dreams, unique dreams. And then he asked, with the permission of his uncle, who when he first spoke to Abu Talib, he asked Abu Talib, who is this boy in relation to you? Abu Talib said, it's my son. But then he said, no, it cannot be. This boy's father must have died a while ago. So he said, no, it is I take him like my son. He's in my care, but he's my brother's son. My brother who passed away when Muhammad, was still in the womb. So the second thing that the monk asked him was to be allowed to see his back. So after looking at Abu Talib, a motion that he made, he removed his shirt, and the monk looked at his back, and what he was looking for, he found. They thought maybe it was some type of mole. They say later in his life, Anas bin Malik, who spent 10 years with the Rasul in Medina, and the Nabi allowed him to see certain things. Anas said it looked like a small pigeon egg in the center of his back, and it had hair on it. So they refer to that as the seal. And later Salman al-Farisi, you also wanted to see, meaning they had some record somewhere in the scriptures that this man, the final messenger, would have something on his physical body as a sign as well. On his physical body as a sign that he is the final messenger. So not only was he known to be the seal, and is revealed to be the seal of all prophets, but there was some mark on his body as well, and his body that was later to be prepared for the final revelation. So then he gave some advice at the end, this monk. He told Abu Talib that, look, the signs are here and there's a bright future for this, or a unique future for this young lad. I would advise you to be protective over him and careful regarding whom he interacts, because there may be people who, if they were to see the signs on him at this age, they would be drawn to jealousy and they may do something bad to him. So Abu Talib took these words to heart, and they say he did not delay on the journey before returning. Let's say three incidences before the revelation. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is growing up and he's learning archery, and his uncle and milk brother Hamza is also learning with him, and Hamza had a natural inclination towards the sword wielding, etc. And they learned to spear as well, because they're in the desert, they needed these skills. They say battles took place between the Quraysh and its allies, and the northern tribes and their allies. It was 4 battles that we know of, and all 4 were known as the battles of Fijar. Fijar comes from Fujur, it's a plural, which means transgressions, unrighteousness. Why these battles were called the battles of Fijar is because part of them occurred in the sacred months. Now, what are the sacred months of the lunar calendar? The sacred months of the lunar calendar are 4. 3 in sequence: Dhul Qa'dah, Dhul Hijjah, and Muharram. They follow each other. Muharram is the first of the lunar calendar, but the year ends with 2 sacred months as well: Dhul Qa'dah, Dhul Hijjah, that's month 11, month 12, and then Muharram, the first. And then the 4th of the sacred months is the 7th month of the lunar year, which is the month of Rajab, the month in which we believe the journeys of the Isra and the Mi'raj to have taken place in. So they did not generally fight in these months. These months were sacred months, no bloodshed, etc. But four battles took place before Islam, and it overlapped. It continued into part of these months, And as a result, the Arabs later refer to these battles as the battles of Fijar. Fijar means transgressions. Fa, Jim, Alif, Ra. So what was the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's involvement in these battles? They say the first occurred when he was about 14 or 15 years old. He witnessed this one. And then again when he was 20. So what we know is he helped retrieving arrows for his uncles. They say it started with a fight between two individuals. The one battle started with a fight between two individuals, one from the Quraysh's alliances, and the other from the Khuza'i or Ghatfan alliances. And the one man killed the other man, and then all the entire clans got involved. Senseless. So he helped retrieving arrows for his uncles. But he learnt strategy, and he learnt the idea of bravery amongst his clansmen. But he also learned that battles were pointless. Because everyone else, other lives got lost because of the doings of one or two individuals. And it could have been settled in other ways. So this is what we know regarding his exposure to fighting in the region before Islam. The pact of Fudul. Now, Fudul comes from Fadl. Fadl means virtue. If someone is Fadil, it means that person is virtuous. That person has some additional good attributes more than others. Fadil. And we have the lady's name as well, Fadila. But in Cape Town, I don't know, because of the Dad, sometimes we add a lam before the Dad. So for example, did I mention this to you? No? Ramadan. So what do I say? Ramadan. And Ifalda, the Tawaf of Ifalda, and Hajj say Ifalda. And then the lady's name is Mardiya. Mardiya, and they say Timaru. Mardiya. So the same with Fadila, they say Faldila. Faldila. Dad and Lam are close. Lam, Dad, it's with the side of the tongue. So maybe there, because Dad is an uncommon sound to Arabic. I mean to English or Afrikaans. So they add L. Fudul, Fadil. Fadil, they say Faldi. Fadil, I don't know how they came. But then Fadila, so it's Fadila, Fadl, Fadil, Fudul, Ifada. Now, so Fudul, the pact of Fudul. Pact in Arabic is a hilf. So why is this significant? I don't know if those on the side can see. This is something that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam praised after Islam. It happened before he was sent with the message. It was a pact amongst chiefs of the various clans to establish justice for all. They would stand by the oppressed Hajjah. If anyone has been wronged amongst them, or amongst the Bedouins even who come in to their circles, anyone is wronged and they confirm that this person has been treated unjustly, they took a pact that they would stand with the oppressed against the oppressor, even if the oppressor is from amongst them. It was a grand thing before Islam. So a merchant from Yemen, the southern part of the peninsula, came into the Meccan area to sell some goods. Not to buy, to sell. And this character here from the Quraysh, Al-As ibn Wa'il. He's actually the Sahabi's father, Amr ibn al-As. The chief. He was one of them. He took the goods from the Yemeni and then he started playing games, not wanting to pay him, trying to delay payment. In the end, they say, in hope that the man would accept a lesser amount. But he agreed on an amount when he took the goods. So now the man got anxious because the man knew that in this space he firstly came alone, no clansmen with him, and secondly, from the people that were in Mecca, he had no affiliation, no link, no allegiances, no one that could stand with him and support him. So he went to members of the Qurashi tribe, because the person who took the goods, Al-As ibn Wa'il, was a Qurashi. So this Yemeni tradesman went to the Qurashis, but none of them wanted to help him. So what did the man do? The man selected a particular time when he noted a mass of people, a group of people, and he called out loud. He drew attention and he called out loud, saying that of your people have wronged me, and I will not be silent, and I will not leave until I get my right, etc., etc. And this is wrong, and this has diminished what I thought of you all, etc., etc. Now, I don't have it on here, but of the senior sons of Abdul Muttalib, meaning one of Nabi Muhammad's uncles, Az-Zubayr, he was the one who called the others and said, we have to meet concerning this. This cannot be. So Nabi Muhammad, we know of Abu Talib, we know of Abu Lahab, who was an uncle as well, but there was another elderly uncle whose name was Az-Zubayr. He called for a meeting, and they all agreed that they would meet in this man's house, the home of Abdullah bin Jud'an. Some say Jada'an, but I've seen it written in more than one text as Jud'an. And who is he? He's the man who I mentioned maybe about 3 weeks ago. Abdullah ibn Jud'an Hajjah had a title amongst the Arabs. They would refer to him as the Zad of the Raqib, the provision of the traveler. Why? Because he had this aspect of generosity where he would not allow people to travel with him unless they left all the spending of the trip on him. He wanted to spend on whosoever traveled with him. People wanted to start a kitty, he would say no. He wanted to contribute, he said no, you asked to travel with me? Same now they heard him preparing for one journey or whatever. They would approach him, they would ask permission to move with him. He would say on one condition. The condition is that you allow me to see to all your food and all your needs. So he had a place in everyone's heart, and people were okay in meeting in his home for this type of meeting because he was a neutral character. So they met in his home. And what is the significant thing about him is that he was also the cousin of Abu Bakr's father. Abu Bakr anhu's father, Abu Quhafa. Abu Quhafa's cousin. Good. And most say that it is at this meeting when Nabi Muhammad met Abu Bakr as well. Or they interacted more than. The friendship was strengthened here. So they spoke at this meeting and they mentioned what had happened. And this is not one incident. The Yemeni incident is one incident. Other things also were reported, and they stood by this pact now that they're going to stand with the one who was wronged. And some say they brought some utur in a bowl, perfume, and they threw the perfume in the bowl, and they mixed the perfume, and they dipped their hands in this. And as they all dipped their hands in it, they made this pact together that we will stand for justice for all. Then there's a narration too that they went with this bowl to the Kaaba's precincts. And when they stood and did this by the Kaaba. Okay? Nabi Muhammad said, this is now after Islam. After he's now with the message, and they're speaking about Jahiliyyah time, and they're reminiscing. So he says, red camels, Humurun Na'am, was of the most valued or prized possessions. So you think of your most expensive vehicle, I think the battery died. If you think of your most expensive vehicle, mode of transport, then the red camel would be it. So he said, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, I would not prefer red camels instead of attending it. Meaning, had you given me red camels to stay away from that meeting, I would not stay away. And number two, he said, if I were to be invited to something like it in Islam, I would definitely respond. Meaning, even now that I'm the messenger, and now that Allah is sending wahi to me regarding what is right, what is wrong, if other people were to come together for the idea of something like this pact of fudul, this pact of virtuousness, even though I'm the messenger, I would respond to it. Load shedding? Okay. So understand that. So anyone coming together, standing up for justice, for what is right, that is commended. And Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, even though now I'm the messenger, receiving guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if others were to invite me to something like this, something like the pact of fudul, I would definitely respond. Meaning I would be part of it. Because Islam stands for that. Islam stands for justice and fairness and truth, etc. So they sent a representative to Al-As ibn Wa'il, and they told him that you better pay this man all that you had agreed upon, or we cut ties with you. And he ended up paying the man. And news of this pact spread all over the peninsula, and people revered the Quraysh who called for it. They revered them even more. Okay. So the Nabi Muhammad was about just over 20 years old when that occurred. And now we're coming into a new space. Sayyidah Khadija radiallahu anha. Nabi Muhammad is now 24, 25 years old, and he now interacts with a woman that he had heard of or just merely seen. So there's a question regarding her. How was it that Khadija radiallahu anha was so wealthy? Despite the fact that women were generally not allowed ownership of things. So what was her name? Her father's name? Khadija bintu Khuwaylid. And Khuwaylid, her father, something like this. Khadija bintu Khuwaylid. And Khuwaylid, he was the son of Asad. He was a man that was regarded for his eloquence and for his loyalty and his word. And some believe, I did not mention him before, but I found this now recently only. Some believe he was a Hanif as well. Hanif meaning someone who distanced himself from the idol worship. So he was a man of principle and a man of his word. And there were times when they sent him, this is a record, we have a record of this, the Quraysh sent him as a spokesperson, as a representative on their behalf to negotiate with other tribes. If there were issues and problems, they would send him. Not only was he eloquent, but he had a name in the region. So automatically, those who were with him and his family were also revered, also respected, also looked on with regard. They regarded him. You with me? Khuwaylid passed away, and his brother's name was Amr. In Arabic, how would I write it? Well, they wow, remember the silent wow. Amr. His brother's name was Amr, and Amr took care of Khuwaylid's family, including Khadija. Radiallahu anha. She got married to this man here you see on the screen, Abu Hala. He was so famous for his kunya, Abu Hala, that there's difference of opinion regarding his name, his actual name. Some say his name was Zayd, some say his name was Amr as well, some say his name was Nabash, but you don't have to worry about all of those things. Abu Hala was her first husband. She got married to Abu Hala, and Abu Hala was a good businessman, and she learnt from business through him, and she learnt business through her uncle Amr, okay, and she had a knack for it. She developed a knack for business. But how? She acted wisely, and this is also of her wisdom. She wouldn't expose herself to the actual deals out there in the marketplace, but she had employees that she would commission now. So they would work on commission basis for her. So she supplies the goods, or the wealth, and they purchase some goods, and then they gain from items that they sell. So for every item she wants a particular amount, and then they can take whatever they want beyond that. Now, to her uncle and husband, she had two children from him. Now, even though the names look strange, they were both boys, Hind and Hala. They say Hind passed away young, but Hala, we have something regarding him. The reverse. Hala passed away young, but Hind, we have a narration regarding him. Now, Hind ibn Abi Hala, that's the narration. So firstly, Abu Hala was Khadija's first. So Abu Hala passed away, and he left a large amount of money for her. So now two things. She inherited this from him. She got this money from him. And she had already now drawn knowledge from how to deal with the money and make it work for her. And more than that, she had her clan support. Okay? Her uncle's support, and the rest of her clan support, and people revered them, her family. They were from the Quraysh, and not only was the Quraysh revered, but her particular clan was also. They then got her married again to a man by the name of Atiq. And there she got a daughter from him, Hajjah. And this daughter she named Hind. So she had a son named Hind, and she had a daughter named Hind. Now here, you would give a girl's name Iman. In Egypt, they give boys' names Iman. And then you give a boy's name Ihsan, yeah. They give a girl name Ihsan. Because the meaning means so goodness, so kindness. But this is what we have regarding them. We don't have much history regarding Hind, the daughter. I have something that she got married to a man by the name of Sayfi. They had a son, Muhammad bin Sayfi. And the children would be referred to as the children of Al-Tahira. Al-Tahira means the pure one. Why? Because Sayyidah Khadija was called the pure one. Sayyidah Khadija, amongst the people, before Nabi Muhammad ﷺ even came into the picture, she was referred to as the pure one. So they lost the daughter here, Hind, the daughter of Atiq. We just have a small record of her getting married to a particular man, and their offspring, because it was linked to Khadija, being referred to as the children of the pure one. But the question is, how was it that she was so wealthy and allowed to own? She had the protection of her tribe, the Quraysh. Her father was a chief and was revered amongst the clansmen. He was believed to be a Hanif. How was she accustomed to doing business? She became accustomed to it through her father and her uncle. She was respectable and highly respected. She was respectable and highly respected, referred to as the pure one, Tahira. She was guided by her family and, as mentioned before, support. Her father died and her uncle became her overseer. So we have all that. So she was always inquiring about prospective employees. She was always inquiring about trustworthy men who could do a business for her. So she was informed about this young man who was called As-Sadiq, the truthful, the honest one, Al-Amin, the trustworthy or loyal one. So she wanted to meet. Okay? So they met, and she was impressed by how he conducted himself, how he spoke, because he was very eloquent, and he was shy. He had long eyelashes, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And she noticed this. They mention all these things, and then they mention in that book there, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they mention some of his features, and even though he had no experience in business, the last he traveled with his uncle was when he was 12, and now he's 25. But people in Makkah, why was he called Al-Amin? People had entrusted of they used to leave of their belongings with him when they leave on a journey. And on return, he would return it to them, and they would give him something, maybe a stipend or something. But he was honest and trustworthy. So that quality attracted her and drew her. So they agreed that he must go on one trip for her. One trip. But she did not send him alone, obviously. She sent a male servant of hers with him. And this servant's name was Maysara. Maysara. She sent Maysara with Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam on a business trip to Sham. So, Maysara reported being questioned by a monk. So now, scholars are not sure, but they think it's the same route that was taken then. And it could just be, and this monk's name, he said the monk's name was Nistur. Some spell it with a ta, and it's in your book there by Martin Links. Some say it could be the same route because the monk noted certain things. Noted them sitting under a tree. So he summoned Maysara, and he asked Maysara, who is with you? He said, only one man. Only one man is with me there, that's significant. So the monk said, it is only a prophet that will sit under that tree. So some scholars think that it's the same space, same area. It may just be that previous monk had passed on and this monk was now in his place. So he asked him about him, etc. And then Maysara had observed certain things. He observed the shade, he observed the clouds, he observed Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's manner and demeanor, and he knew that he was in the presence of an extraordinary person. And then the business deals, it's as if it was blessed even more, overwhelmingly good. So on the return, there were two reports. They say in that book there, Martin Links, he says Nabi Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came to report to her about the business, and she took in simply that business was good, but she was more impressed by him. So they described him even there. his complexion, his features, even his torso, and the way he spoke, etc. And then they say she was smitten, yeah, and she was impressed. And then Maysara spoke with her. Maysara told her about the monk and what he had seen. So two things happened. Before she consulted with a friend of hers named Nufaisa, like Nafisa but on a small scale, they say she went to her cousin here already. Khadija radiallahu anha went to her cousin. Who's her cousin? Waraqa bin Nawfal. And she told Waraqa what Maysara had told her about the monk and what the monk had said. So Waraqa gave her some advice. Who was Waraqa, Hajjah? Waraqa was a cousin who was lettered, he could read and write, and he was not an idol worshipper, and he managed to get some manuscripts of old divine texts from the Jews and Christians, and he educated himself. So he used to share things with her, with Khadija, and he shared with his sister Qutayla, who was interested in Abdullah before. Now, about the time being conducive, and the signs are all there for the coming of the final messenger. So he shared this with Khadija as well. Okay? So now she consulted with a friend of hers named Nufaisa. And then Nufaisa was bold. Nufaisa said, leave it to me, I'm going to speak with him regarding the idea. And in your book there, Muhammad of Martin Links, you have a conversation where she managed to approach Nabi Muhammad ﷺ and asked him, would you consider marriage? So he said, I'm not by the means. So she then said, what if the means was afforded to you? So he then said, but even so, who is there that I could marry? So she then said, what about Khadija? So he said, if something like this, if the condition is conducive, then I'm willing. Okay? So she then, Nufaisa took the news back, and Khadija spoke to her uncle Amr, and Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam spoke to his uncles. Now, of the uncles, Hamza was chosen to go with the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hamza was chosen to go with the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam to propose. And the book would say why Hamza, even though Hamza was young. Hamza was maybe just a year older than the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hamza had a sister from the same mother. Her name was Safiya. Meaning Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam's aunt. Yeah. But this Safiya was married to a brother of Khadija. Now I wanted to, but I thought no, it's not necessary. She had brothers and she had siblings. They're not mentioned that much. You with me? But she had one brother, his name was Awwam. Uncommon name. Awwam with a Ain. Awwam. And Hamza's sister from the same mother, her name was Safiya. They were married. So there was an added link, family link, and they were all about the tribe and the family. So they sent Hamza with Nabi Muhammad ﷺ to propose. And she was already was now in the know, and she was fine, and she accepted. And then they had a discussion, and this dowry. Someone asked me last week, what were the procedures for marriage before Islam? So what we have are simple things like this. It comes through from time to time. And it came through with Abdullah and Amina as well. There was a proposal, meaning there was some type of ceremony and procedure where they would ask. With me? And there would be some discussion regarding dowry. And there would be a reception, a walima. So Islam condoned that. With me, where you ask, there's a khitbah. Khitbah is an engagement. What the Imam does on Fridays is with a dhamma, khutbah. But if you change the dhamma to a kasra, khitbah, that's an engagement. So, alhamdulillah. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam spoke about the khitbah and said, at the moment a man has proposed to a woman, no marriage took place yet. And she either accepted or she showed an inclination, she's deciding. No other man can come and now make a khitbah on his khitbah. Not allowed. You have to give the lady time and space, and she has to decide. Otherwise, you can confuse things. So he spoke about that. And then the dowry, the issue of dowry, mahar. And in Cape Town, you must see where the origin of the word Maskavi is from. Maskavi. Could be Indonesian, I don't know. But try to keep it as simple as possible. You can do it in different ways. You can do part of it upfront and part of it delayed. All of those things, but keep it as simple, because if the man is unable to, if the man has some that he has to still pay, it's a debt on his head. And I know of cases where the guy passes away and still of the Maskavi wasn't paid. It's a debt, meaning the family has to settle it. Otherwise it's hanging. So try to keep it as simple as possible, the Maskavi, the dowry. One person, the dowry, and he agreed the dowry was that he must take the wife for Hajj. And they never went. And now with accreditation, all these things, and then the amounts, the thousands and thousands. Other Maskavi was, the boy was Hafiz, so the dowry is 500 rand plus you must make him memorize the entire Quran.
Yeah.
So how do you handle that? Anyway, but it's something nice. So the Imam sometimes say, give the Maskavi, and that about him teaching Quran, don't make it part of the Maskavi. It's between you and him. A request, not part of the dowry. The dowry can be anything the lady wants, but the dowry is simply not you paying for anything. The dowry is you as a man recognizing the fact that the woman has a right to own things for herself. It's hers to do with what she wants. She can keep it, she can give it away, she can give you part of it back if she wants to. It's in the Quran. Out of the goodness of herself, she can give part of it back, or she can use of it to help if times are tough. But it's hers, you have no right in it. To show that she has the right, you acknowledge that she has the right to own things for herself. Anyway, so people asked about what are the things that the marriages before Islam consisted of. Dowries were there. And then the walima was there as well. And the walima, Nabi Muhammad spoke about the engagement. He spoke about the dowry. He spoke about walima. That you must try also to invite family and people, but also not limit those you invite to their affluent. Invite some people their du'as will benefit you. People will appreciate the meal or something. So they accepted that he would give her 20 she-camels as dowry. So obviously, he's still developing. He may have earned some wage from the trip now to Sham, that he went to Sham with Maysara folk. But he got some support from his family, and they managed to supply the dowry. Did she have children of her own, and how was the relationship? Yeah. Did we do this? Yeah. Children of her own. Yeah. She, Hind was now the son of Abu Hala. Yeah. And what was the relationship with the Prophet? Yeah. Have you heard of the Shama'il Tirmidhi? The Shama'il Tirmidhi is a collection of just over 400 ahadith. 400 ahadith where the companions report descriptions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In that collection of just over 400 ahadith, al-Shama'il al-Muhammadiyya of Imam al-Tirmidhi, meaning the Muhammadan attributes, all ahadith with Sahaba describe Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In that is one near the start that's very eloquent, and it's narrated by him, by Hind, the son of Abu Hala. So he became Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's stepson. So he was there in the house, and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam married his mother, Khadija's mother. Khadija was Hind's mother. The narration is this: that Hassan and Hussein, firstly the narration is by Hussein. He was about 6, almost 7 years old when Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away. Who is he? The Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam's grandson from Fatima and Ali. So he says, after the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away, I was missing him one day, and my memory of his features was a bit vague. He was young. So he said, I went to Hind. I went to Hind, the son of Abu Hala, and I asked him to describe Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, my grandfather, to me. So before describing, he said that your brother Hassan was also here, and he came to ask for the same. Hassan and Hussein were not twins. Hassan was born in the 3rd year Hijri, and Hussein was born in the 4th year Hijri. They were 1 year apart. So the one was about 7, and the other was about 6 when the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away. So on the request by the grandsons, Hind gave a description. The son of Abu Hala, the son of Khadija radiallahu anha, he gave a description of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that spoke of many things, one of which was his eloquence. So that's why he's noted here, he was a companion, he accepted Islam obviously. He was very eloquent, and he is known to have been a wasaf, one who described Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam expertly. Hala is also the other son, Hala bin Abi Hala. He is also recorded amongst the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Amongst the companions. But we don't have much information about him. Some say he died early. Died young. Hind passed away. He was martyred in the Khilafah of Ali. Hind was martyred later in the Khilafah of Ali. So after Abu Bakr, after Umar, after Uthman. And then last, the daughter, who has the same name as the son there above, Hind, the daughter of Atiq. She's also recorded amongst the female companions. And like I said, I couldn't find much detail regarding her. But we have a record of who she got married to, and that they had children together. The one son she named Muhammad, and the offspring of that Muhammad bin Saifi were all called the children of the pure one, because of their bintu Khadija. Okay, that is the end for today. But I want to ask you something, because the next questions continue with Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's life, and one main incident before revelation. Sayyidah Khadija was how old when she was married to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? She was 40, and he was 25. The Nabi Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was born 7 children. 6 of them she bore. What does it mean, Hajjah? She bore all of those children after 40 now. So now we have to at least know their names. 4 daughters and 2 sons. So what are the 4 daughters? The first was Ruqayya. And Ruqayya comes from Ruqi, which means a small person who is constantly progressing, improving, getting better. Ruqayya. And then we have Kulthum. Kulthum is Kulthum itself is a fragrant plant of the desert. There's some technical name. And then we have Zainab. Zainab is type of flower too, fragrant flower. So how did Zainab become Jainab? I want to know. Zainab. Because if you say, and with the names are concerned, it's okay if people say it differently, but it goes back to the Za. Zainab is how it actually should be. And Zainab, you see, one of three things could happen if you say something differently. Either it's not eloquent, right? But it's not a biggie, not a major problem. Or it gives no meaning. Or it changes the meaning. Now Jainab, it doesn't have another meaning. It doesn't have another meaning. It's just that people were maybe more comfortable with a J, but it doesn't have a bad meaning or anything. But Zainab, yeah.
And
Kulsum instead of the tha. Kulsum, yeah. Kulsum. So that's also where the tongue is lazy and you go to the S. Sometimes it can be dangerous. Kulsum, it won't have a bad meaning, but it's not eloquent there, not clear. Sometimes it can have a change in meaning. Like for example, if the name is Thamina. Thamina means valuable, expensive. Thamin. So if you're lazy then you say Samina. It means fat, yes. But you don't intend it to mean that, but you say it incorrectly, it changes things. Yeah. So it's Thamin actually. Okay, so Ruqayya and Kulthum. Some people just give Kulsum. It's okay. Kulthum is the actual plant, but Nabi Sallallahu called her Kulthum, the mother of the plant, meaning the one who cares for those plants, etc. And then Zainab, and the fourth girl is Fatima. What does Fatima mean? Fatima is a woman who weans the baby, meaning the woman who helps the baby get off the breast, the woman who helps the baby grow and mature and develop. So a woman who helps the young develop and grow. But literally it means one who weans the baby off the milk. So now, one thing, we give certain names because of their meanings, but we give other names because of the personalities that carry those names. So like Fatima, won't give it because of the meaning really. It's good to know, but you give it because of the personality. Same with Ruqayya. Ruqayya and her husband had a unique love story to come through. And then Kulthum and Zainab went through tough times. But Ruqayya and then the sons, Qasim and Rasulullah ﷺ is referred to or given a kunya by Qasim, Abul Qasim, the father of Al-Qasim, he was known as. Qasim means someone who shares and distributes things. And then the second son he named after his father. That's why some scholars draw from here. If someone were to give their son's name after their father, or their daughter's name after their mother, etc., could be regarded as sunnah or not, because the Rasul did this. He named his son. But you could say, some say no, he gave it because of the meaning. Others say he could have given it because of his father too. His father was Abdullah. So he named his second son Abdullah, the servant or the slave of Allah. So now in some books, you may read that he had two other sons also. The two others' names was Tayyib and Tahir. But Tayyib and Tahir were not other sons. They were what he used to call Abdullah. When playing with him, say, Ya Tayyib, come here. Ya Tahir, come here. Where's Tayyib? Where's Tahir? They were nicknames for Abdullah. So the two sons from Sayyidah Khadija were Qasim and Abdullah. Qasim and Abdullah. And Abdullah had the nicknames of Tayyib and Tahir. Alhamdulillah, that's all we have time for this week. Allah bless. And question. Khadija. It's a good question. I researched it last year, I think. I will just confirm and I'll tell you later. Have a good meeting. Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
إن ضاقت الدنيا ارتحلنا عاليا لسنا الذين على الحياة نضام نرقى جموعا كل يوم.
The Inat Foundation is an NPC and a PBO that was established to support and develop NGOs within our community. We specifically provide support funding to make sure that these NGOs are sustainable. We also provide teacher training and development to ensure that the teachers there and the staff there are up to scratch. And we also provide support in terms of equipment funding and stationery and infrastructure.
I'm teaching madrasa here in Cape Town at Halal Masjid in Chovin. That place before it was Shabin. Now alhamdulillah we thank Allah there's madrasa there. People can go there and pray. Children going there for learning madrasa now instead of that Shabin.
We adopt a collaborative approach. That we collaborate with all sectors of community, from those who have all the resources and the funding to those who need it, and we try to develop solutions together.
The main challenges we have is financial assistance, and the space we running madrasa and the sub kitchen is very small. The kids which we started with them right from the beginning, they knew nothing, and now alhamdulillah they know to read some few surahs from the Quran.
We thank Allah for giving opportunity for Inlight to know us, and if you continue that thing, I think Islam will be fine here in South Africa.
If you'd like to contribute, if you'd like to help in person with your du'as, please do so. May Allah bless and protect. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
ودفاعهم هل ترتجى يا شام